Hey, it's GunsmithBeard back with another gun video for Gun Talk, and as always, it's really good to talk about guns and have this time where we can just kind of let loose and relax and enjoy this time where, honestly, this freedom we have. And so enjoy it while we got it, right? But if you're new to the channel, welcome. I know there's quite a new faces that has popped in from last week, so a big thank you to you guys. You guys are telling everybody about the channel and growing the channel, and you're actually subbing the channel, which is awesome because, like I said, I do watch the algorithms, and there's a ton of people that watch the channel, but they are not subscribed. And if you were subscribed and you go and look and you're not, that is some fun stuff that YouTube does to gun channels. Is if they don't like what you're saying, they'll go in and take you off of a channel, which is, to me, asinine. But anyway, the freedom of speech and the freedom to bear arms is one of those things that's constantly under attack, it seems. So it's always good to exercise both. But without further delay, let's jump into the video. Big thank you to BROWNELLS, SWAMPFOX Optics, and Shooter Innovations for sponsoring this channel and helping us grow and bringing us new material to talk about each and every week. So I'm really excited about this one. This firearm, I should say, is a little bit harder to get your hands on because it is a very small company and not everybody carries them. And so when I found and was blessed with the opportunity of broadcasting or featuring this on the channel, I was really excited. So I hope you guys enjoy. If you've never heard of it, that's awesome. You're going to learn some stuff too. Or if you've heard of it but you're like, I really want to know more about it, then maybe we can help each other out. But anyway, hope you guys enjoy the video this week, and I will see you soon. Hey guys and girls, welcome back. So we're going to talk about this NVIDIA ARMS PD10-OC. This one is the 9 and it is in black. And you'll notice it is in Fletcher, North Carolina. So if you're familiar with North Carolina, you realize that on the western part of the state, we have mountains, and also on the eastern part of the state, we have ocean and even an Outer Banks. So this is near Asheville, which is on the western part of the state, and it's a little small town south of Asheville. And so this company paired with a gentleman called Rob Pincus, and Rob Pincus is, what we do know is that he was in law enforcement for some period of time. Some websites say 20 years, other websites say he was law enforcement and military, but to be honest, a lot of that looks like it's written by him. And so I'm not really sure what his expertise is, besides that he has been teaching people firearms and been an instructor of firearms for a very long time. Beside that, I don't know his pedigree or really a whole lot about him, but what looks like what he wrote about himself. So I'll leave that where it is. If you guys know more, please share it in the comment section. I'd love to hear more information, but to be honest, after doing several hours of research trying to figure out who this man was, that is about the extent of what I found. And so let's talk about a gun that he designed with this company, and here's what you get. And so before I open this, I will say this: I've heard a lot of good things about this pistol, but you'll realize that it's somewhat hard to find if you want to go to a big box store or even your local gun store and try to buy this thing. A lot of people don't carry it, and a lot of people really don't even know about it, even though, granted, there's been tons of videos done on this pistol, good or bad, on the YouTubes. So when you get one of these, mine is going to be a little different, and I'll explain why. You'll get a mental health flyer. You'll get the manual, which is a pretty thick manual for a gun that they designed, but it is very informative. So it gives you a lot of good meat potatoes on how to take care of the firearm, how to disassemble it, even though it's relatively simple. And then also, anytime you buy a firearm from them, you will get a congratulations letter from the company itself. And so where mine is different from if you bought it brand new is you only get 2 magazines. So you get one and then one in the magazine. This one was used, and the previous owner went ahead and purchased 2 more magazines. So this one comes with 4 instead of 2, which is really nice, because if you're gonna really shoot this gun, you're gonna need more than just 2 magazines. And usually I'm surprised that this one doesn't come with 3 magazines. Plus, this is what it comes in. It does not come in a hard case. You'll notice that right off the bat, that it's just a cheap cardboard box with some nice foam, laser cut foam or whatever. And I've already taken the optics plate off and installed the optic on it. And so it also comes with your spent casings when they tested this pistol, to let you know that they actually did run some rounds down through that barrel. But let's talk about this pistol for a second. But before we do that, as always, let's clear it. And nothing in the chamber, nothing in the mag well, and nothing in the magazine. So, like I said, when it comes to the PD10s, the first variant of this pistol did not have an optics cut, so you could not run optics, you could only run irons. So you would only have a front sight and rear sight. And also, when they first came out, I believe it was 9mm. It wasn't until later that they released the 30 Super Carry, which is allegedly supposed to be better than 9. And the biggest difference you'll notice between 9mm and the 30 Super Carry is the 9 only holds 10 in this 1911 single stack magazine, which they've modified. And if you look at the top of the feed lips, how they're spread apart and how they've modified it, it is different. So I don't know that if you pulled this out and you ran it in a 1911, it would feed correctly, because they have spent some time playing around and modifying the feed lip so it feeds in this well. And to be honest, that's one of the gripes that you will find when you're going through reviews on this pistol, is that the magazines, because of these feed lips, and like I said, and I've done and talked about 1911s and done videos on 1911s, and one of the biggest gripes of a 1911 is the magazine and the feed lips, because they, over time, the more you use them, the feed lips will spread, and that will cause feeding issues. So when the feed lips are too open, the round comes out prematurely, and the round kind of sticks on the top of the chamber. Now, when these are too tight, the round actually nosedives and hits the bottom. Now, when the round, obviously when the feed lips are perfect, the round feeds right into the funnel or the chamber and slides right in, and it chambers perfectly fine. But anytime you're going to use a 1911 mag, I will be honest, feed lips can be your friend or they can be your enemy. And so this weapon system is designed for 1911 9mm single stack magazines. And they do have this really nice base plate, and it has a little hook on it, because when you want to strip it out, you have something to hold on to. You can kind of pinch it, or you can pull it, and you have a little hook to do that. And that's really what that's designed for. It gives you something to grab. So if your magazine if your gun misfeeds and you have to rip the magazine out, you have actually some surface area to do that. So that's a really cool advantage that they did think a lot about. So again, if you went with 9, it'll only hold 10, but if you went with 30 super carry, it'll hold 12 plus 1 in the chamber. Either way you go. So I'm gonna set that aside. The barrel is 4 inches. And the reason why Rob went with a 4-inch barrel is because when you start looking at ballistics, they say anything smaller than 4 inches, 9mm doesn't perform the way it should. And if you're gonna use self-defense rounds like a hollow point or any kind of defensive bullet, then it won't open. You'll have issues with velocity. And I don't know I buy all of that, but I do know ballistically there is a performance drop when you keep chopping this barrel, making it shorter and shorter and shorter. Now, I do agree that there is substantial data on a 4-inch barrel performing really, really well. And so this has a 4-inch barrel, and it does not protrude very much past the slide itself. When it comes to the frame you can either get in a black or you can get in like a dark gray color or sniper gray or whatever you want to call it. And it does have a lot of texture. So it has texture on the front strap, the back strap, and it has, I believe that's called a Trinity symbol. You guys can correct me on what that actually is. But it does have a lot of texture, and the texture, according to them, is somewhat aggressive. It's good texture, it feels good in the hand. It's still pretty smooth. And so even though it does have the texture on the back strap and the front strap, it still is a little slick because it feels kind of like Polymer does. It feels a little plasticky. And it's mainly because this isn't like a sandpaper grit. It's just designs cut out in the plastic. And I think that might be why it feels a little slick in the hand. Now, I will say that they call this a deep tang, where you have a pretty deep cutout right here on the back strap. And to me, it feels a little weird because I have a big thumb muscle. And so I get part of that on a high purchase, but I have a lot of part of the gun. This part that protrudes into my thumb muscle doesn't feel quite right. It doesn't feel as comfortable as some guns that fit my hand a little better. Now, this gun is still a really nice gun. They put a lot of R&D into this, like this little spot here for your thumb to rest on the frame. They put this 1913 rail for accessories for lights. So with this rail system, you can pretty much put a lot of different light or laser light options on this pistol if you want to. The magazine release is a little bit oversized, but it doesn't protrude enough to cause problems. But it does work really well also. So that's one of the things I noticed is it has a really nice mag release. The location is about perfect for my thumb pad, and it does work really, really well. Again, you have this texture on both sides. If you're a left-hand shooter, then you have a place to put your thumb on either side, which is really, really nice. The side lock, sadly, is only on the left side for right-hand shooters, so there's not ambidextrous controls on this side. But the design, I think, for this pistol is absolutely nice. I mean, they made a lot of different cuts. They beveled the front of the slide, and that was designed to actually funnel into a holster a little better. So it's on both sides. You can see how it's kind of beveled on the edges. The overall length on this PD10 is 6.94 inches. The width, because this is a very slim frame, very, very thin. The thickest portion of the firearm is about 1 inch thick, which is going to be up here on the slide. Then this part is about 900 thousandths of an inch thick. So it's really, really thin. And some guys are going to love that. Some guys are going to absolutely hate it. So it's just one of those things. It is a very lightweight pistol, coming in at 18.8 ounces, which is insanely light. The optics cut that they come with, if you get an OC model, is RMSc or Holosun 407K. And that is important. The 407 is not the same as a 407K. It's a different footprint. So if you go buy a Holosun or have a Holosun that is a 407, that is not the same as a 407K. It is slightly different. And also there is plenty of optics that run this RMSc footprint. Since we're looking at the optics, I'm going to show you real quick. This is another SWAMPFOX optic. This is a SENTINEL 2 or Mark II. It's a 1x20 green dot. It has shake awake technology, auto on, auto off, a 20 millimeter window. Again, it tells you the footprint. It is a RMSc micro footprint. It has a lot of cool features. 3 MOA dot. So if you're wondering how big the dot is, it's a good size dot. Instead of having a 6 MOA, which is a little bigger, you can drop it down to a 3. I really, really like that, especially if you're going to target shoot. If you have a bigger dot, sometimes it hides the target you're shooting at. This is what they call the silver lens coating, so it looks clear instead of that reddish kind of orange tint that you see on a lot of the other options that are out there. And that's the difference between the red dot tint versus the green dot tint. The green dot is a silver color instead of this reddish orange color. This is the new version, the Gen 2 or Mark II or whatever you want to call it. And it looks phenomenal on this pistol. There's minimal overhang, and that's the biggest thing, is running an optic. You don't really want a lot of that hanging off the side of the pistol. You want it to be pretty streamlined. So if you do carry this, that it is very, very compact and tight. You'll notice that it has serrations. See if I can get this on camera. But it has serrations on the back window, and that cuts down on glare, which is just another thing they thought of really well. And because this is really strong and structured, you can rack off this. You can grab a hold of it and rack off of it. The only problem with doing that is your brightness. So brightness up is on the left-hand side, brightness down is on the right. If you hold the brightness down for seconds, it turns it off manually. So that also disables the shake awake. If you want the shake awake to stay on, then you set your brightness level and then you put the gun in a place it's not going to get moved for several minutes, and then the auto feature will shut itself off, and then when you pick it up or sense its movement, it'll turn itself back on. So this is it. This is the PD10-OC with a SWAMPFOX SENTINEL 2 1x20. And to be honest, I think it's a phenomenal pairing of the two. If you're going to go optics, this is a phenomenal optic, and I think they marry well together. But we can't leave out one thing. And so real quick, just so you can see again, nothing in the chamber. The trigger pull, I'm sure a lot of guys are going to want to know, well, how's the trigger? It's a definitive wall, and then if you pull past that, it's about 5 pounds. So I'll pin the trigger so you can see the reset too. That was the reset, so it's about half the distance. And also where you feel the definitive wall is where your reset is. You squeeze again, That's the definitive wall. You can feel the trigger stop. You can feel pressure on the trigger shoe. And then if you squeeze past that, it's about 5 pounds. I ran the pull gauge and I was getting anywhere from 5 pounds to 5.5 pounds. And just for fun, let's do that real quick so you guys can see it. I'm gonna clear it. All right, guys and girls, I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. If you've ever seen a PD10 or PD10-OC and you were intrigued but you didn't buy it, or maybe you did, I love to hear your feedback in the comment section. That is where we can talk about it and I can learn from your experiences and listen to your feedback. I really do enjoy doing that. So I hope you guys liked the video. As always, work hard, God first. See you next time.